Hi guys, it's Keri from Keri'd from Fleece. I'm here with the very first part of Clue 3 of the Mystery Spring Knit Along of 2022. I have my 2 feet here all knit up. This is the first one that I put the scrap yarn in to hold the stitches, and this is the second one that I just finished. I found this next section a lot easier to do using scrap yarn instead of a stitch holder, so if you have it on a stitch holder, you might want to consider putting it onto scrap yarn instead. The first part, we're counting to 4 to the right. We have both of the feet facing away from you with the working yarn facing towards you. Both the feet are facing in the same direction all the time during this section. So on the first foot, we're going to count 4 stitches to the right of the bind off, or where the working yarn was. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to use an extra needle. I have 5 of the needles all together. And we're going to place the next 9 stitches onto the extra needle. So you can just slip them right on there with your waste yarn still in there. And then we can pull it out later. Okay, so here's my 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we're going to set this to the side for just a minute. And we're at instruction 1 now. We're going to knit 4 stitches. So I have my other needle here. So I have 5 DPNs going during this section. So we're going to knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and those are just going to hang out there now. I need 9 stitches on this needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to slip one from the next needle onto this one. This isn't imperative, but it makes it just a little bit easier for this next section where we're actually joining the 2 feet together. So this is the needle we're going to be working on. We want the other needles to go underneath so that way they're not in our way. And we're going to line the first foot's 9 needles that we just put on there. Line them up with the second foot's 9 stitches. Not 9 needles, 9 stitches, I'm sorry. We line them up and we have to do a 3 needle bind off. So in order to do this, we're actually going to slip these last 4 stitches. No. To do this, we're going to slip the stitches on your other 2 working needles onto 1 needle, just to kind of hold them there while we're working on the other one. We're not going to be working them right away, so we can always rearrange our stitches later. Now, again, we're going to line up the 9 stitches that are getting ready to be worked on the second foot with the 9 stitches that we put on back onto the needle for the first foot, and we're going to do a 3 needle bind off. So to do that, you go into the first stitch on the front needle, into the first stitch on the back needle, and knit them together, and then slide them off of your needle, both stitches. Now we're going to do the same thing into the front and the back. It's like we're knitting them together, only they're on separate needles. Slide them off, and then, like, to bind off, you slide the second stitch, well, the first stitch over the second, or second over the first, whichever you feel like it is. It's the first worked stitch, but it's the first one showing on your needle. So again, we go into the front needle and back needle, knit them together, and then we bind it off. Into the front needle and the back needle, knit them together, and bind it off. And you're doing this to all 9 of these stitches, so they will all be gone. Okay, I bound them all off there. Now it's time to move on to the next instruction. We put this stitch onto our locking stitch marker. Sorry about that. Lock it. Let it hang out there while we go to the next instruction, which is to knit 27 and place a new beginning of the round marker. So we're going to knit 27. While you're knitting your 27, you should keep in mind that the next section is going to be worked over 18 stitches, 9 on the first foot, 9 on the second foot. So you should put 9 stitches on one needle and from the second foot, and have the other 18 on one needle. So 18 on one needle, 9 on the other. Okay, now I'm back at the beginning of my round. My 2 feet are still facing in the same direction. They're attached on the top. Now we are ready to go on to the next instruction. So you can see your next 9 stitches that you have right past where we attached your 2 feet together. This one's kind of hidden because that other stitch beside it has been used, but we want to place 9 stitches back onto our needle. Just like we did on the side, we're going to do the same thing here on the back of the leg. Okay, so there's our 9. The next section is short rows that are going to be worked across these 18 stitches. So this is still going to be your beginning of the row. So you'll place your marker here, and the short rows are going to be worked across these 18 stitches. Now I'm here and I've worked all of my short rows. So I have a little triangle here that I've worked past the legs at the beginning of my round. The next instruction says to place the next 9 stitches onto another double pointed needle. So we're going to the other side of your left hand needle, and we're going to place the next 9 onto a double point. This one is really hidden down in there. So make sure you're getting the stitch that the stitch holder is holding, not the stitches around them. When you work with them, it really pulls them down in there, makes them a little elusive. You might actually find it easier to to do this from the other end, or other side from the working yarn. So and for this section, it might be easier to put all your stitches onto one needle, but you're going to knit 8, and then we're not going to worry about the wrap on that stitch, because what we're going to do is we're going to slip this one, and we're going to slip the next one onto our needle that we just put them onto, and we're going to knit them together through the back loop. So we're going to be doing decreases at each end of this needle. So we have 9 stitches on this needle, and we're going to decrease on each end with the other needles. So that's how this section goes. And then you'll be putting the last 9 stitches back onto your needle and starting to work in the round again. Thanks for watching.